Hey everybody, this is Eric. Today I wanted to talk to you about 4 non-healthy foods that you should try and avoid at all costs. Now, I would say a majority of us do eat these foods at one point in time, and I would say that probably most of us, unfortunately, are probably eating way too much of it. But there's a lot of reasons that we should, pay a little bit further attention to what we're putting in our bodies and really try to avoid these at all costs if possible. So let's go ahead and get started here. The first one that I want to talk about is wheat. Now, there's been a lot of information out there, mostly companies or the FDA, whoever it is, saying that wheat is it's healthy for you. It's better than eating white bread or regular bread. But the reality of it is that most of the wheat that's produced today has been modified in some way or another. And it can actually speed up the aging process within our bodies. It can actually spike your blood sugar levels, insulin levels, everything. So if you can avoid wheat, or if you're already not eating it, go ahead and stick to that. All right, second one here is sugar. Now, this is probably the hardest one, or one of the hardest ones to actually avoid, because sugar is in pretty much everything that we eat, it seems like these days. Everything from condiments to cakes and cookies and pies and processed foods and you name it, it's probably in there. So just pay attention to what you're eating. Sugar can actually be very addicting. So it's going to raise your blood sugar levels. It increases your risk of diabetes, obesity, heart disease, dementia, and like I said here, pretty much everything else. So, just pay attention, try not to go overboard with the sugar, and it's going to help you feel a lot better. So, the third one, corn and its derivatives. Now, this kind of touches base probably a little bit in regards to the sugar, which is the high fructose corn syrup. If there's something that doesn't include sugar, it probably includes this. Or vice versa, and again, it's everything from cakes and cookies and cereals and chips and you name it, it's probably in there. So sweetened drinks is probably the biggest one. Some do still use regular sugar, but most use kind of a processed corn syrup. So it's just another thing that's going to age your body and get you to the point where you're going to be less healthy than you were before you start eating it. So again, if you can avoid it, go ahead and try and do so. And then finally is the omega-6 vegetable oils. Now, this is different from the omega-3s and the fish oils. Those are definitely good for you. But when it comes to some of the vegetable oils, there's canola oil, soybean oil, safflower, sunflower. Unfortunately, I mean, in a normal sense, these would probably not be so bad. But again, so much has been processed and genetically modified, and these oils just are not good for you anymore. So they can create as I put here, kind of a cascade of undesirable inflammation inside your body. So the more of these oils and vegetable oils that you're eating, it's just going to inflame your insides. It's going to damage your organs and just basically cause havoc in your system. So if you can avoid them, go ahead and try and do so. If you need to use some kind of an oil, definitely look for something like a non-processed coconut oil or an olive oil, or even butter is better for you. At least butter is not a processed oil. So again, try not to go overboard with it, but go ahead and use those instead. So just a quick recap here. So the 4 things that you want to make sure you try and avoid are going to be 1, wheat, 2, sugar, 3, corn and its derivatives, and 4, the omega-6 vegetable oils. So hopefully this gave you a little bit of information. Certainly go ahead and do a little more research if you need to and find out more about these 4 foods or whatever they are, and how you can try to avoid them, or look for healthy alternatives. So again, hopefully this was helpful. Again, my name was Eric, and I'll look forward to bringing you some more information shortly. Thanks.